Hey everybody, today we're going to travel the Pyramid Trail from Hirschdale, which is just east of Truckee, to Verdi, California. That's about 16 miles of the trail. The trail itself starts at Lake Tahoe at the mouth of the Truckee River and then follows the Truckee River in its entirety all the way to Pyramid Lake. So the total is 116 miles. What's interesting about the route we're doing today is that it's a combination of trails. A lot of it is on TMWA land, so it's a water district land. It's actually private land, but they got permission to complete this trail. It follows I-80. There's a lot of bridges and stairs and a whole bunch of stuff that they did to try to make it work. This is going to take us to Verdi, and then we're going to leave the trail, and then we're going to hook up with the old Lincoln Highway, which is also called Henness Pass Road. And that's a big climb, and it'll bring us eventually back to Stampede Reservoir. We'll get on the Stampede Boca Road, which is a road, and that road will bring us back here to Hircshdale where we're parked. Let's get going and check it out. So we're on Hirschdale Road here, and the first thing we're going to do is cross the Truckee River on a bridge, and that'll take us over to the trailhead. Following that, we got a little short climb, and then we cross another bridge, which is the railroad tracks. After a short distance, we get to the end of the road, and that's where the trail begins. And here you'd see it says road closed, but the trail is open. We're going to hook up on the Old 40 Highway, which is different from the Lincoln Highway, which is over on Henness Pass. This road is a mixture of existing roads, trails, and then they built a lot of new stuff. Okay, I hope this doesn't bore you too much, but this right here is very important. This bit about Janet Carson Phillips, who began scouting the Truckee River Canyon between Reno and Truckee to build a path as part of her vision to create a bike trail. She was actually an unpaid volunteer. All the work that she did is pretty amazing, so she deserves a lot of credit for what we experienced here. Okay, this is kind of where the highway ends, and it probably was inundated by Highway 80 at this time. So we're on what is now the mountain bike trail. So this is an interesting spot here because you can see on my right here, this is the old guardrail from the Old 40, but on the left, the support for I-80, which is above me, was built. So there's a small section of the road still visible, so that's pretty cool. Along the route, we come to this cool little car that is kind of just off the road. So this is obviously from the Highway 40 days. And this looks to me like it's probably an old Chrysler from around 1960-ish. Okay, here's another cool section. Right here, you can actually see the old road stripe from Highway 40. And then just above me, up this way, is I-80, which was built just above Highway 40. Here Highway 40 heads back into and gets inundated by I-80, so the trail goes off to the right. This would be a built part of the trail. Okay, I mentioned a while back that a lot of this land is private and it is owned by TMWA. Now TMWA is Truckee Meadows Water Authority, so it's water land. I mentioned that Janet Phillips started her work trying to map out this course in 2003. It wasn't until 2008 they finally came to an agreement with the Water Authority to allow the access for the trail. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of cooperation by the TMWA. So way back in the day, the Lahontan cutthroat trout flourished in the Truckee River. It eventually became extinct. Some of these fish were up to 40 pounds, so they're absolutely huge. And then they disappeared, and then they were brought back. And now we have some, but they are only found in about 3% of the river range, and they are considered an endangered species. In some places, the trail comes right up to I-80, and you can hear the highway. And then in other places, we're more distant. And right here you can see how they've built some fencing on the steep, sketchy parts to keep people from falling off the cliffs. And you can see right here where it goes through this really steep canyon. It's a good place to have a little bit of protection. Here's the second car we've encountered. The Old 40 is just above us, and then I-80 is way above us, but this would have come from I-40 probably. And it's a single headlight DeSoto, so I'm gonna guess it's a 56, 57, something like that. It's not in too bad a shape. Okay, here's the back of it. Pretty cool. Okay, the trail doesn't always stay up by the I-80. In this case, it descends down via various switchbacks and it comes down close to the river. But the good news is we're away from the highway and the noise. Now all we hear is the rushing Truckee River. Okay, we climb back up and then we've got to go back down, but this time we're going to head down via some very steep stairs. And you can see on the left side here is a ramp where you can roll your bike down, but it's on the right side. I like to walk on the left side, so I think I'll just be humping down this thing. It's probably rideable, but probably pretty dangerous. It's quite steep. This is another incredibly nicely built section, and you can see this one even has wood decking right here. And the river below me is gushing pretty hard. You can hear that. And then we're going to come out into an open area. So at this point we come out to one of the side roads here that gives access to the south side of the road, and we're going to cross under I-80. And then the trail continues. This area along the north side of the I-80 is the Floreston area, And I find myself on some broken pavement, so I imagine that this is part of the Old 40 highway. Okay, so we're not on the north side of the road for very long before we end up having to take a sharp turn and then drop down, and we go under the freeway again. And you can see right in front of me is the old flume, which is not being used today, but you can still see it in many places as you take I-80 from Truckee to Reno. Here we go under the flume. Okay, we're at an old power station, and there's another stairway, so I'll utilize the board on the right. Walk your bike. And you can see right there, I believe that is abandoned. And here's the ducts carrying water down to the power plant. The power plant we just passed is called the Farad power plant. And it was the very first power plant for Reno in the Comstock, and it was completed in 1899. All right, so here we are in another section of Old 40. Back on the pavement, you can hear the noise from I-80, which is just up that way. Right there you can see an old rail bridge where the rail crosses the Truckee River, and now we're on the same side of the river as the rail. So at this point we drop down and we're going to cross the railroad tracks. Looky looky, no trains. All right, so here's a really cool little bridge crossing. Bumpity bump. River rushing below us, and this is getting into the area where I think the power plants are up a little further. I think this might be the Fleish area, and I shall double check on that. Okay, we got a culvert crossing here, and following that, this is where the road goes up like crazy steep. It's a really hard climb. Granny gear all out for me. It is rideable, but it's crazy steep. You can see I-80 over there to the left, so you can see kind of how much we've come up. But the road goes up to a switchback, and then after the switchback, it mellows out a little bit, and also the surface is better as you get near the top. Well, what goes up must come down. So we hit that climb at about 11 miles. Must be just to avoid some cliffs or something, but it's a pretty stiff climb. And then you gain the climb, and then you descend back down. That's what we're doing right now. There's an electrical plant there, and over to my right is the wooden chute coming down with water just gushing down. Okay, so this is some kind of a flume thingy or something that's still in use, and you can see the water draining out, and then most of it continues on down that way. But this drops into this pool here, and I'm not sure what they do with that. Maybe it's overflow and it goes back into the Truckee River's right there on this side of the railroad tracks. We're now at the Fleisch power plant area, and you can see the railroad bridges here. I think the older one is the one with the structure and the newer one is without, so they added the tracks sometime, I would imagine. And there's the Fleisch power plant, and as we cruise upriver a little bit, we can see the overflow coming down, and you see it here coming into this pool, and then it goes back into the Truckee River, and you can see it has quite a bit of water in it right now. This is a big year for snow. So if we follow the overflow up the flume a bit, we come to the main flume, which provides the water for generating electricity. And you can see it flowing along here, and the overflow comes out and then flows out the overflow. And then we come to the junction house here, and then we look down the beige pipe, and we can see down to the power plant where the electricity is produced. All right, so if you look carefully down at the railroad tracks, you can see a place where we cross, and then we're going to get on that road that goes right along the railroad tracks. So this is a cool area, and that's called Quilici Ranch Road. All right, so this is Quilici Ranch Road. I apologize for the wind, it's super windy out here, but you can see this nice flat area. The Truckee River is right over there, just this side of I-80, and then you've got this nice huge valley, so you can imagine it's a great place for ranching and farming. All right, so you see the beautiful Quilici Ranch on your left. I believe that's it. As we cruise down, we got our railroad tracks right here on the right, and if you're lucky, a big old freight train will come through when you're passing through. Okay, so Quilici Ranch Road takes us kind of right into Verdi, and then we get onto this Crystal Park Road. We take a left, and we go under I-80, and we will be in Verdi. And so that kind of more or less completes our travel on the Pyramid Trail for this section from Hircshdale to Verdi. And then we're going to go over and find the Henness Pass Road. There's a lot of history on Henness Pass Road, which we're going to talk about in a minute. All right, so we're at the southern end of our jaunt here in Verdi. Verdi was a town that was established when the railroad came through during the years 1867 to 1869. So the town sprung up, and the wagon trains would come through here, and there was a mill here, so it was a big lumber place. So that's how it got started. And then of course it was a stopover for people coming on the Lincoln Highway. crossing the river. And right here, we're going to turn right on Dog Valley Road. And Dog Valley Road is really going to take us up to Stampede and Boca Reservoirs, where we need to go. And some people more refer to Henness Pass as further on up, but this is often called Henness Pass Road. So this is part of the old Lincoln Highway. This cast iron obelisk was meant to illustrate the border between California and Nevada. There was much dispute about the border, but it eventually worked out, but the obelisk stays here. And as you can see, it says Nevada on one side, Oregon to the north, and on the west side, of course, it says California. Okay, so Henness Pass Road turns to dirt, and it's sort of a rocky, gravelly affair and fairly steep. But this road has an incredibly long history because this was the route that was used for thousands of years before the pioneers came along. So the Native Americans used this road to get over the Sierra. And then once the pioneers came along, they of course decided to follow the Native American route. And then subsequently, as early as 1850, it began to be kind of a toll road. For that reason, it was just further developed until it became the Lincoln Highway route in 1913 or so. Howdy. It wasn't until about 1927, 1928, when the Highway 40 was completed, that the route over the Sierra for motorists was changed to the old Highway 40. And keep in mind the Truckee River Canyon was used by a railroad since 1868, but there were no roads through there. So this was the preferred route. So this road is open to just about anything. You can hike it, you can mountain bike it, you can drive it in your car, or you can take your OHV up here. And if you want, you can even turn on your strip light in broad daylight and blind everyone coming toward you. Looks like they're doing some work up here with the heavy vehicles. So that junction right after the construction vehicles, you stay right there. I think you stay on maybe Dogtown. That road heads to Dogtown. And this is Stampede Dam Road, which is again part of Henness Pass. Okay, here's the summit, and there's a road that continues up. You can go this way and connect back to Stampede Dam Road, or you can stay on the main road here, which I'm going to do. You see the sign says Boca Reservoir is 8 miles and Verdi Peak is 6 miles. All right, so we're back on Stampede Dam Road. This is going to take us back to 80 and then go under 80, and we're basically back to the car. Hey, if you are enjoying the video, please do give it the old like and subscribe, and I'd really appreciate that. It would really help me out. We are getting toward the end of the video here. I'm crossing the Truckee River, and I-80 is just over back there, way behind me. All right, so rumor has it that there's great pizza over here in Glenshire somewhere, so I looked it up on my phone, and I'm gonna head over there and see if everybody's right. Alrighty, we're gonna go check out Glenshire Pizza Company.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Good, how you doing, brother?
Alright, it's a good menu. I'm gonna get the Thai chicken pizza. But they have a whole bunch of them here. It looks really good. And I was able to get some sort of Mexican beer on happy hour here with the lime.
What are you thinking, man?
I am thinking, unless you talk me out of it, a 12-inch Thai chicken. Is that too weird, or is it all right?
No, very popular.
Okay, good.
12-inch Thai, you got it, man. You've earned it.
Yeah.
Do it. Thanks, brother.
Thank you. All right, so the pizza has arrived, and it looks amazing. My God, look at that. That is pretty amazing. Oh my God. Beautiful. Okay, I talked with the owner a little bit, a guy named Peter. The place was super noisy, but the pizza was amazing. The Thai chicken was like super good. And he was telling me that this is his rig over here, the Rocky Mountains. So he's a mountain biker too. So we talked about that a little bit. If you are in the area, even if you're not in the area, Glenshire Pizza Company is highly recommended. What he did mention to me is over on the left there, you can see there's some outdoor seating. And so that would be cool because super loud and small inside, but that was the only drawback. Anyway, just wanted to give my high recommendation for Glenshire Pizza. Anyway, so thanks for coming along on the ride. And until next time, thanks for watching.